Hello, I'm Kristina Derro. I'm one of the attorneys here at Legal Help for Veterans that helps prosecute the claims against VA for service-connected disabilities. And I'm here to actually talk to you about a very serious topic that seems to be coming into the news a lot more frequently lately, and that's service connection for post-traumatic stress disorder, but is due to military sexual trauma. And military sexual trauma, or MST, can be anything from rape, inappropriate touching, or even sexual harassment by your fellow military members or by your commanding officers. And in order to get service connection, you first need a diagnosis of PTSD by a mental health professional. You then also need to show that the in-service stressor actually occurred. And this is fairly hard to do. And I know as a former therapist who used to work with veterans that a lot of times the victims of MST don't like to discuss it, and in fact they avoid discussing it, and so it's fairly hard to actually prove it that it occurred during service because there's no evidence. But a couple ways around that is if you did perhaps discuss it with any of your fellow members of the military, you can have them write statements on your behalf to submit to VA. You can also submit any police reports or incident reports if those were ever made. You can have your friends and family write statements on your behalf if they're aware of the incident at the time they occurred. So perhaps if you called home to your mom and dad or discussed it with your friends or things like that, they can then write a statement on your behalf and submit it to VA. You can also show evidence of changes in behavior or performance. So a lot of times for our veterans, what we'll do is we'll get their personnel records and it will show that they're performing great. They're getting all, superior ratings on their performance reports. And then all of a sudden, once the events start occurring, their behavior takes a nosedive and they start doing really poorly. Maybe they'll even get a couple of Article 15s. And so we'll use that as evidence of showing that military sexual trauma did occur during service. Another way of doing it would be if the veteran started to receive treatment during service for symptoms of anxiety, if they tried to avoid certain social situations and avoid the perpetrator itself of the harassment, or for women, if they ended up getting an unwanted pregnancy. We've had success with a couple of our female veterans showing that sort of thing from their service medical records. And finally, once you do show an in-service stressor, you'll then need to get a medical opinion that links your current diagnosis of PTSD back to that stressor. Once those three things are accomplished, VA usually does grant service connection. However, like I said, it is fairly difficult to do so, and a lot of our veterans do feel that they're being re-victimized. Which is very unfortunate, and hopefully VA will someday in the future change their regulations so it's a little bit less stringent that our veterans need to show in terms of an in-service stressor. Thanks very much for stopping in here at Legal Help for Veterans.